So the thing that's coming to mind is that since I was a little girl, I've been mothering people. I was babysitting from when I was really, really little, and even my first matchmaking that I did, I was 12 in camp, and I like put two people together. I've just always thought about, how do I help people feel seen? How do I help them belong? I had a lot of experiences of not belonging, so it was really important for me to help others feel seen and to belong. But there's also a very, very strong tradition in my family, on both sides of my family, of women being cooking in the home, making food, hosting big meals, welcoming people into their spaces. And at a certain point, I really caught on that my mother is not 100% like a normal person, that she has magic to her, that she has very, very strong intuition, and that she knows it and she uses it. And I came to trust it. I remember when I was 16, I got invited to go to the Atlanta Olympics. Somebody was gonna take me and pay for the whole trip and the whole thing, and this was someone my mother trusted very much, and she said, don't go. And I was mad at her, because she was always really quite permissive. And then there was a bombing. And the person I was gonna be with was in the building that got bombed. And my mom said, that's why you didn't go. And from that point on, whatever my mother would say, it was like, I totally trust her intuition. And I came to understand that I have some of that magic and some of those qualities in me too. And the more I explored some of my past lives, the more I've come to realize, okay, there's some midwife, there's some witchy kind of stuff going on, there's some medicine woman thing. And I've also had a lot of witch huntings in my life. So that made me scared to explore those parts of me. So some of the things that people get to explore, some of that wisdom is innate to me, it shows up in my hands. I've got these really old hands. I've been told that I was an old soul from when I was very little. But there's also discomfort that has existed for most of my life and that I'm still navigating around being scared for being hunted as a witch and for being interested in things that are not exactly of this world. And part of my personal evolution has been embracing those things. So I came from being very grounded in engineering and business and wanting to be very much of this world because I was scared of the things that were not of this world, to more and more embracing the magic that lives in me. And so I can be grounded and make food and host people and welcome them into my space in this mothering way, while also kind of playing with these otherworldly magical qualities that exist within all of us. And for me, they feel like these two different aspects, the grounded and the spiritual. But indigenous traditions, that's innate. Spirituality is deeply grounded. People are of the earth, they're connected to the earth, they're connected to animals and plants and sky and sea. And in the indigenous world, there isn't a contrast for people between being grounded and being spiritual. I think that's part of what's messed up in the West, is that you're either grounded or you're kind of spiritual and flighty. But in the indigenous world, spirituality is a deep part of how you are grounded. That when you are connected to the earth, you're more open to being connected to the spirit realm, that those two things come together. And it's actually very core to the work that I do, because I see that as people connect to their bodies more, their consciousness expands. And those who want to leave their bodies end up in this kind of flighty, limited spiritual experience. But the deep, rich, loving, connected spiritual experience that people want starts by sinking into the body first.
Yeah, I mean, one of the beautiful things that I've gotten to experience with you is the way that you really do open your heart and open your home and really welcome people into this kind of holistic experience of Hana Mason, but not with any intention, just out of pure love. And so I want to hear also, you talked about your mom always having people, but it's such a big part of who you are. It's you open your home and every week you have new people at your table and it's always a transformational experience. So can you share more about how you got to the place of always being able to open your heart and open your home and have people come and sit and really show up as themselves?
Okay, so the first thing I would say is I really, really love people. Like, I love people very, very much. And I'm always curious about people and getting to know people and seeing the best in people. And as I've become less scared of people and less scared of not being enough, for not being loved enough, my ability to expand my heart and my space and hold others has just grown tremendously. And I'm always blown away by how much I'm able to love someone who I just met and really hold space for them with a lot of beauty. And the transformation that happens in our home, in our Shabbat table, is a product of having hosted spaces where it was just a free-for-all. People could talk about whatever they wanted to talk about, and we noticed that people talk about sports and politics and television, and we would get sucked into those conversations as well. And my husband and I were trying to figure out, okay, why are we talking about things that feel kind of dumb and shallow, even though what we really crave is depth and connection? And we realized that dumb, shallow things just feel safe. So we actually need to create very gentle rules and guidelines that encourage people to go towards depth and connection. So at our table, what we decided to do is ask someone to share something that inspires them. And we always pick the first person to be somebody we know kind of gets what it means to share from the heart. And they share from the heart. And everyone's invited to just listen and hold space. And the next person shares from the heart. The next person shares from the heart. And then you get someone who's never shared from the heart ever in their entire lives. And next thing you know, they're crying. And it's the most deeply moving experience to have a heart-to-heart encounter. To me, that is the definition of Kedusha, of holiness, is the space in between people when people show up in a real way. So to witness that and to hold space for that, it's just like amazing, because then I get to go into my deep places and I get to share from my heart. So it's really from a desire where I want to be seen in a real way and I want to connect in a real way. And I'm just assuming that other people want the same thing that I want, and those who don't end up in my house. Or at least they don't end up in my house twice.
Yeah, but it really shows through, because when you do sit and at that table, there's always a transformational process that happens. And it's so beautiful, and it's such a gift, really, because there aren't a lot of spaces where people are invited to show up as their whole selves. And in your spaces that you create, either at your table or at your breathwork sessions or on your one-on-ones, you really do create a space of safety. And I wonder how that feels for you after all these years of being a coach that has been very much like in the boxes of productivity and success, to now having gone into this new realm of like creating sacred, safe spaces.
One of my biggest drivers is that as a kid, I didn't feel seen, heard, or understood. And oftentimes our biggest pain points become our greatest superpowers, as one of my teachers likes to say. So I've become a human being who's so passionate about seeing and hearing and understanding people, and also about having that for myself, about having people see, hear, and understand me. So as much as possible, I like to enter spaces and create spaces where that happens. Whether that's one-on-one with my clients, or whether that's in a group setting or in a course or a workshop that I run, or whether that's in my Shabbat table or even just having a friend over. It's like, what can I do to help this person feel seen? And also, what can I do to help me feel seen? Because others also want to engage in that witnessing process. We want to see each other. We want to know each other. It's what we crave more than anything else, is to be known. I think, like any musician or artist, what I'm doing more than anything else is channeling. So I have all these tools in my toolbox, and then I plug into the person, and their body speaks to my body, and their soul speaks to my soul. And if I'm plugged in and I'm attuned, so then questions flow out of me and I don't even know where they came from. And it really helps that there's these tools that kind of support the capacity to do that. But just like a musician says, like, a song came through me. Well, if you don't know how to play guitar, the song can't come through you. The song won't pick you because you don't have the tool. But so that's why all of the tools are really, really helpful, all the understandings and frameworks. But there's something that happens where channeling can occur. And it's part of why I most enjoy working with advanced students. People who've been engaging in a personal growth process for at least a few years, because their capacity to be a vehicle through which channeling happens in me is so much higher. And there are certain people who are themselves energy workers or therapists, and with those people we fly because their bodies are just channeling so much information through me, and I'm wide open to receiving it, that magic happens, and they're wondering how I did it. And I'm like, I didn't do a thing. The places where I feel like I have to work really hard and lean on my tools are with really beginners, because their capacity to be a vehicle for channeling is very small. It seems odd, but that's just what happens for me.